welcome to Rapid Reviews Radio podcast episode, oh my gosh, 220?
220.
I pulled that out of thin air. Not entirely because I did write it in this thing, the title thing. But I have the memory of a goldfish, so hey. I am your co-host, Kylie Wilde. I'm joined by my ever-present co-host, Pete Beckett.
Hello.
And a very special guest. Stick around, it's going to be amazing. Claire Morwood. I hope I said that last name right.
You did. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, no. What Claire has done is amazing, and we are going to get into that. It's going to be very cool, and I do mean cool, like edgy, rock and roll cool, that kind of cool. But what I like to do every episode is ask our guests, if we have them, and we do have a guest today, how their week's been, what have they been playing. Claire, how's your week been? What you been playing?
It's been good. It's been fairly chill this week. I've been playing Peglin, which is like a roguelike Peggle game, which is pretty good. I got very into it for like a few days. Yeah, I would recommend it.
Yes, I love Peggle, so I assume I probably like that. Yeah. That's very cool. Pete, what about you? How's your week? What you been playing?
Tiring, exhausting, very busy, but I did manage to get 2 games in on the docket this week, so one of them that obviously we will talk in a lot more detail very, very soon. But I am very, very close to the end of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. I am literally on the chapter known as Finale. And
well, let's hope that's the end.
I thought the final chapter would be short. No, it is not short. A split party is once again split, and there are 2 different boss fights that you have to do. But not only boss fights, climbs up towers. So it's very, very, very long. It's been about 4 or 5 hours, and
wow.
I'm gonna hope to actually finish the rest of it tonight if I don't pass out after this recording.
Well, VG says, Yakuza love!
Yeah. Kiley, how's the week been and what you've been playing over on Twitch?
So, what I've been streaming, right?
Yeah.
I did, wow, am I really going to blank out? No, here we go. Okay. One day I did the usual, I'm pretty sure I did, I started with Gas Station Simulator, which is a game that I have actually wanted and wish listed for like ever. And then it went on sale in the Epic Store, because I check Epic, CD Keys, and Steam like all the time. But it went on sale at the Epic Store, and so I went and got it. And I played it for the first 45 minutes on my stream, and I was like, okay, this is a game that I'm going to be absolutely obsessed with, and will be very boring for my lovely, lovely chat and watchers. So I cut that short and then played Hitman, of course, because that's what I do. I'm a Hitman channel, apparently. And then Wednesday, I multi-streamed to Twitch and YouTube Mouthwashing, which is an indie game that, holy crap, if you like deep, nuanced stories that just kind of hit you right in, I was going to say the heart gut area where you feel things, holy crap, that is wow. Like, the ending was, and I know this phrase is used a lot, mind-blowing. Whew. Yeah, Danker, you would love it, not a lie, because he says, ooh, Gas Sim, that was my type of game. BG says, nice, I love the Final Fantasy DLC for Power Wash Simulator. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Nana said, did you end up doing the other ending? So I haven't done the other ending. Mouthwashing has several endings. I think I actually got the good ending, which is still like, oh, it's still like stabbed in the heart. It's one of those games where you keep thinking about it when you're done, and you keep kind of talking about it. And I picked up a few followers from YouTube, and they had been playing it. But that's a game that's come out this year. Indie game. Go do it. It's great. If you like emotional stories. And weird surrealistic mindscapes. So I did that. And then I was gonna do the rest of Resident Evil 7, but we had a very quiet Friday night, and I don't like to do that unless it's got an audience, because the audience really likes it. So we just did Hitman again. And then Saturday, I did 3 freaking hours of Gas Station Simulator. And now, I'm going to preface this with, it's not official. It is not official. I hit 50 followers. It's not official yet.
Gotta love bots
I have
on
to
Twitch.
wait. I was going to say, I have to wait on Twitch to verify everybody. I'm pretty sure 2 of those followers are going to come off. But that means that it's realistic. I am within touching distance of affiliate. And that's what I want.
Just wait for that official email to come through.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to celebrate. Yes, exactly, Danker. 50 pending. Yes, exactly. And stuff. And yes, Pete says if you have any questions for Claire about the game Asterism, feel free to add them to the chat, and we will either ask them at the time, if relevant at the time, or towards the end, which is a very good thing to keep in mind, because that's where we're going to head to next. Pete, I'm going to toss it over to you if you want to give us a little background on the game that we're talking about, which is Asterism, but even Claire herself, which I really want to pick her brain.
Well, that's actually probably the best place to start, really, is to ask Claire herself. Yeah. Let's talk Asterism. So, how did this all come about? Like, just creating this into a game?
I guess, like, I kind of created Asterism as a way to, like, reconnect to music making. I used to play a lot of music when I was, like, a teenager, but, like, always had problems, like, I don't know, struggles of like sharing it with people, and then I kind of just like stopped playing for a long time, and then I like got into game making, and then like a few years ago I was like, you know what, I'm gonna like start making music again, and then my game making like brain was like, well, how could I like combine these 2 things, and so I was like starting to think about how you could make a music game where the like act of listening to the music was kind of the focus, rather than it maybe necessarily being like a rhythm game or something like that, something where you wouldn't be interrupted. It was just like you and the music, and it kind of developed from there.
Okay. And what other games have you previously worked on before you worked on Asterism?
So this is like a solo project, and I've done some like quite a lot of like game jam and sort of small games using tools like Bitsy and things like that myself. I also have a small company, me and one other person, called Threefold Games, and together we released a game called Before I Forget in 2020, which is like a walking simulator game about a woman with dementia. So yeah, that was a few years ago. Apart from that, just like sort of, I do freelance work as well, so kind of like various client work and things like that. But yeah, it's like my main projects.
Oh yeah, I did hear about Before I Forget. Obviously, I didn't realise it was you and your company who developed it, so that'll be one for me to check out at some point in the future. But I can see here, obviously, that as a result of that, it was nominated for a BAFTA Game Award for Game Beyond Entertainment. So that's pretty impressive, like to be highlighted within your first game. So how do you feel that helped with your journey in game development? Did it sort of give you the idea to go, okay, this is really for me, I really want to continue this further?
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing, like, to be nominated. It was just like, it was crazy to have that experience. I think the thing is, like, the sort of games I like making, and that I like making with Threefold Games as well, they're sometimes games that people sort of look at and they're like, is that a game? Is that like, because it just like doesn't quite fit in with, like, I don't know, some categories. So I think what it did for me was it kind of, I don't know, it made me feel like I would probably make these games anyway, but it was like nice to feel like they could be sort of like seen in the same like vein as these other sort of like larger games and ones that are more conventional in some ways. So yeah, it definitely probably helped me to think I could make like another game on that scale that was sort of, I don't know, I could just go wild with ideas of what I wanted it to be.
Yeah. And was that a key thing with both the development of Before I Forget and Asterism, is that it was just a way for everyone to be able to experience the game itself with minimal gameplay?
In terms of like the mechanics and the controls and things. Yeah, that was definitely a consideration. I think like with Asterism, it was definitely the case that I wanted it to be there's just like it's arrow keys and spacebar, or like the equivalent for controller for the game pretty much. And part of that is because there's quite a lot of different mechanics in Asterism. Like the way that you use those controls changes frequently throughout the game. So I wanted to make sure that the control scheme is simple enough so that you're not ever really having to think about what buttons you need to press. You can just like press stuff, and then you can figure out very quickly what it does, and you can just experiment within that, and you can be very playful with the interactions.
Yeah, because I noticed obviously when you are playing it on a controller, you could use either the left stick or the right stick to be able to do all the movements. Any of the face buttons basically did the same thing. So it was quite actually really decent to be able to just pick up the pad, or go onto a keyboard and go, okay, the only 5 buttons I've got to worry about is my directional movement and 1 button to interact with the scenery basically. So
yeah. Oh, that's cool to hear. Yeah.
So go on, Kylie.
Oh, I was just going to ask. So you said that you used to make music and then found your confidence. I guess it is kind of what you've done. Do you have like a musical background more than a developer background, or are they pretty equal? Or
they're equal in that I've never like studied either. They've always just been like things that I've kind of learned by myself, or like through friends and that kind of thing. So like my like background in terms of like my studies is I did geology at university, so like completely unrelated
right, of
to any of this.
That's how it always is.
Yeah.
Always.
But yeah, like creative pursuits, I always just enjoyed doing that as like a hobby, and then like now I've been like fortunate enough to be able to make it into a thing that I can do every day as well.
Yeah, that's very cool. Like I admire that. I have to. It's just too cool. And so I obviously like Pete for our chat to know that Pete and we've got a little preview of the game. And one thing that struck me was the art style. Now, was that something that came from you? Is that someone you work with, an artist with? How did that come about? Because it's very unique. I really like it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that so I did the art in the game, and it kind of came like secondarily to the like general concept. So I think for me, like with the art, I really like making 3D games and like exploring 3D spaces. I really don't like 3D modeling or like any of a lot of the stuff that comes with like actually creating a 3D game. But I really want to make them, so I try and find ways that I can still make a 3D environment, but use like a lot of 2D assets. And I just like crafts as well. I like making things with my hands. So it feels like quite a natural way for me to use a lot of these kind of techniques of like claymation, papercraft, and often when I'm like prototyping something at the start of a project, or like in a game jam or something, I do tend to like draw things, like photograph them, put them in the game, because it's often quicker. And then it's interesting because people will like look at it and be like, oh, that's such like a cool art style. And at that point I'm just like, oh, that's just like sketches and stuff. But I think people really like respond to it as well. It's not a style that you see often in games.
Yeah, exactly. It stood out to me. I mean, yes, there are games that have that claymation style, but this is almost kind of upgraded, if that makes sense.
I would say this is definitely more
3D
World papercraft sort of style game.
Yeah,
that's what I got from it.
Absolutely, yeah, and it just really like. I enjoy. First of all, I enjoy the music, but I really like guitar heavy indie stuff anyway. So I'm already sold on that. Which actually reminds me. So would you say that you have musical influences, and what would they be?
Yeah, I guess, I mean, my favorite band for like a lot of my life has been Muse, so that's like one of my biggest influences. Yeah, with like just a lot
shines
of
through
guitar
throughout this.
Yes.
Like you, probably a lot of like guitar-y indie stuff. There's a band called M83, and their first album in particular was like I don't know, there's something about it that just like the sounds of it just really like inspired me a lot for this as well. Yeah, synthy guitar-y stuff.
Yeah. Right up my alley. So, Chad, if you're in that same boat, and I'm sure a lot of you are, it's good.
Yeah, synthy indie rock has never usually been my kind of thing. I sort of sway towards a more heavier style myself and heavier prog rock, but I can still get and appreciate the indie styles of the band itself and the music itself of the game, and I did actually genuinely quite enjoy it, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Despite it not being my typical thing I usually listen to. So, did you create the music all yourself, or did you have a band like accompanying you with this?
Yes. It's pretty much all me. I have a couple of friends that I worked with. It's the first time I've like done sort of like this digital music production. So I had friends that kind of like helped me figure that stuff out a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, apart from that,
that's really cool. I'm sorry, but that's really cool.
It is, yeah. And how was the production of the music like put together? Like, was it all done sort of over the internet? Like, you would all record your own sections and then put it in together into like a mixing track, basically?
So the recording was all me. The production was kind of like my friends would like come over and then just like sit with me, and we'd have like the digital like audio stuff open and just kind of like go through each track and I don't know, like listen to it and then think like what needs to be like balanced here, what needs to be changed. So it was a lot of it was largely like I wrote stuff and then I like recorded it, and then we just like went through and tweaked it, and I got like a lot of advice on how to make music sound better. But yeah, it's all just like done in this room. Like, this is like my microphone.
Oh my goodness!
And, like,
oh, cool.
My guitar and stuff. So
that's amazing. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's amazing.
I have to ask, how many instruments do you know how to play?
I mean, well, know how to play is true. I feel like I can play guitar.
Let me reforge the question then. How many are you competent in, let's say?
I guess mostly guitar and like bass. I used to play like piano, keyboard when I was younger, but I've not really played that in a long time. And I guess like I do singing, like that's an instrument. Your voice.
It definitely is, yeah. I used to be a bass guitarist myself in my earlier days, so my goodness. That didn't go anywhere, let's just say that. I was like yourself, like recorded music but never put it out to anybody.
It's hard. It's very, very hard to be able to do that.
So I've got a question here from Nana. I think it's appropriate to what we're talking about. It says, who or what is your biggest inspiration musically?
Oh, I guess I already sort of like answered that a little bit with like, I'm trying to think of like other bands that I've not mentioned. I mean, I do like some heavier stuff as well. Like you were talking about like proggy, like heavy stuff, and I've been listening to a lot of like Tool this week. And I like
cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Tool is ridiculous because first of all, they sound great, but their phrasing is so strange and it's intentionally off-putting, and yet you love it. So I don't know. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, I love their music videos as well. They're like like terrifying in a weird way, but the claymation.
They're incredibly surreal and
very
unnerving at the same time. But
I really love industrial.
It was the 10,000 Days album that really got me into Tool in a major way, and it was mostly because I was playing bass guitar at the time, and it was like their bassist just acts like a lead guitarist, and it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard.
Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So we talked musical inspiration, but do you have a artistic, like the style inspiration for the actual game art itself?
For the visuals? I think a lot of my art influences come from like 90s children's TV that I watched when I was younger. There was like a lot of like claymation and like mixed media stuff that was like, I don't know, like it was just like what was on TV, but I guess like that was just in my brain for since then.
Well,
and it's just, I don't know, like it's just weird. Like a lot of it's so strange and
it is. We got obviously I grew up in the US. I now live in the UK, but I grew up in the US. But we got a lot of UK imports. One thing that we got was a show called Trapdoor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember just being like transfixed and stuck to the TV because it was like, it was so odd, unnerving, but also entertaining and visually, all that kind of thing. So yeah, it is. You make a good point. For whatever reason, there was a lot of claymation around when we were kids. So I maybe that is why I'm just so like drawn to your style, because it has that kind of warm, familiar feeling type of thing, which is something I do want to say. Like usually I play a lot of sci-fi based surrealistic type stuff, as I mentioned, like mouthwashing earlier, and it's intentionally made to make you feel off balance, a little eked out, a little kind of just whatever. Whereas your stuff feels comfortable, and I mean that in a good way, because that's what I want. Like it's warm, it's comfortable. You don't feel, like, oh, if I open this door or whatever, my whole life's gonna be bad. It's like, it's nice, and I really I like that. After some of the games that have come out lately, I'm just like, no, this visual novel, I think was how it was described, and that is, yes, absolutely. So that's another thing for our lovely listeners and watchers. I know we have a big contingent that love visual novels.
Yeah.
I know, because I played them on my stream and they loved them. So yeah, and that is probably exactly how I describe it. That's what it feels like. It feels like an adventure in a novel. Yeah. It's also visual. But yes. So yeah, Pete, do you want to?
So I actually want to delve into the actual game itself, and I want to start particularly at the plot. We're not going to delve too deep into spoilers, of course, but how did you come up with the initial concept for let's say the album and the game itself?
That's a good question. I guess there's kind of two strands of that, where the first part, so it's like set in space, and I think the fact that it's set in space was like a big part of like the plot in a way, because I wanted to frame it around like the solar system, or something that kind of like resembled the solar system. So you begin in the sun and you're kind of like traveling out from there. So that was actually kind of like useful in terms of like some of the music writing and deciding like which songs went where, and if I wanted like a particularly like big song, because it's a lot of them are very much like based on planets and like places within the solar system. So like for example, with like the song, there's a song in the middle that's kind of like basically Jupiter, and that's like, it's big and it's like supposed to sound really like large and like this like centerpiece of the album. So plot wise, I think I wanted to like use that structure of like the solar system as a kind of like pacing almost.
I get that.
And then in terms of like more like the narrative, because it was like quite a personal project in terms of this like me trying to reconnect with, I guess, like this younger version of myself. That was always the way I wanted to take the narrative as well, with this like character who's I guess going on this like journey into like the unknown, but in this way that's sort of like reconnecting with part of themselves as well, and that sort of fed into these like parts of the narrative that happen in between the songs, and then like the narrative like is in some of the lyrics of the songs themselves as well.
Yeah, that really comes across, and that is something also I saw it described as a journey of self-discovery, which that checks all the boxes in my broken head. So I love that. That's another thing to our lovely listeners and watchers. It is a journey of self-discovery, and that is what you do glean that from this. and it's very heartfelt. It's connecting. It's the best way I can describe it. So that's why I was saying, it was very warm. It was very, you get pulled into it, as opposed to, other things where space is cold and it's empty and it's really, really big, that type of thing. This is not. It's not that. This is a fun journey we're on together. Maybe fun, it's fun. I was gonna say a deep journey, but also fun.
Yeah, but you also get the very sense of isolationism when traveling like alone down the path, because you have the broken communications with the two members of your team as well.
Yes, I love that so much.
I think there's a lot of space games, and I think and space films and space things, and I think that's that's the reason is space is such a great metaphor and place to have that kind of self-reflection. I mean, I guess it's been done for decades, but it's but it makes sense, and it's something everyone kind of can relate to, I think, in a lot of ways.
Absolutely, I think so. Yeah. But do you have plans possibly in the future for not only expanding, this kind of cinematic universe, but pursuing more projects that are kind of this storytelling visual novel type thing? Is that I don't know that there would be an Asterism 2, but I would definitely want to explore more I guess storytelling through musical gamey things in some way, which I don't quite know. I've got ideas for things to try out, but I don't have anything solid yet. But I would love to explore that more and just make more music, make more games that use music in interesting ways, in ways that I find interesting, at least. Yeah, for sure. Right. Well, now this may have been already expressed. I've drank a lot of Prosecco, so bear with me.
This is quite a normal occurrence.
Yeah, it's just yeah. But are you releasing the soundtrack to it as well? Because I know usually on Steam you can buy a game and the soundtrack. Is that going to be available or in the future, or is it currently?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I'm planning to release the soundtrack just at the same time as I release the game, and I am in the process of getting a physical version of the CD made as well, which may or may not happen at the same time as but it will definitely exist shortly after, if not on the same day.
He is all about that physical media. He loves that.
Based on the themes of the game, will there be a tape version?
Oh, I mean, there isn't currently, but I have thought about that quite a lot. Okay. I think I am going to get the CD version figured out, and then I might come back around, maybe an anniversary edition or something.
I mean, of course, tapes are particularly difficult to find nowadays anyway. It's a bit of an outdated format, but they are making returns, so it might be something worth looking into.
Goodness.
It's fun having physical stuff. I don't know, having this object and then you put it in a thing and then music comes out. It's crazy. I know it's not crazy, it's just science, but it's
honestly, it is strange, because 5 years ago I was I'm not ever going to go to streaming music. I absolutely love a physical thing, but now Spotify has ruined my life. But there are certain bands that I still collect actual physical CDs for, and it's still just a piece of joy just to get a CD and just go, I can just go and play this anywhere. And it's it's sort of the same sentiment as people have with vinyl nowadays, isn't it? Where
I do love vinyl.
Your sound quality is better. You're not going to have any drops in audio quality or anything, because it's just there on the disc for you. And I'm a big
and the ritual of just putting it in as well.
Oh yeah. It's the same thing you get with a game where you just take the cellophane off and you just admire everything. I think one of the greatest things about getting an album is just combing through all the different artwork that you get within the book and reading the lyrics or seeing stuff like that. It's what we used to get with video games, where you could sit in a car for hours and just read a manual.
The manual.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
God. See, Kylie, this is what you don't get with digital distribution.
Yeah, well, I have lack of the patience. I just want to hear it and play it now.
And you want
I'm
it
the
on
worst.
midnight, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. I want it whenever I want it, right then.
I'm sorry, there's no greater feeling than walking down to a game shop, if they still exist, or waiting on your step, like bottom step or near the bottom of your house, just going, hurry up, postman, I want to get here.
I hated that.
It's true.
I remember being a kid and ordering stuff, and it would say, I don't know how it was, obviously in the UK, but in the US it would be 6 to 8 weeks before it arrives. When you're a kid, that's a freaking year. That's a lifetime. So, and then I was impatient anyway. So I am a digital person. I'm always the odd one out, especially at our age. I'm the odd one out.
We don't shame those. Like, I think if it wasn't for digital distribution, games like Asterism and Before I Forget wouldn't exist. So fair enough.
Yeah.
Can't argue with it. It has its upsides and its downsides, like everything else.
That's right. Yes. Although, I mean, I do very much believe in vinyl. I have an old record player from the 40s.
Nice.
And yeah, I know, I love it. I love it so much. But that's because I'm into that retro futurism, the whole, Fallout mystique. I love that so much. And actually, it's Fallout. The soundtrack to Fallout, and I mean Fallout 3, Fallout 4, New Vegas, all the modern Fallouts, that got me into vinyl and into old music that I would not have really noticed, I think. So video games can be a launching pad for music, interest in developing, a different kind of ear, than you would normally have. And type of things. I do really like the kind of marriage, I guess. I guess that's the only word I can think of different things like games and music coming together. Because it's all art, and I just love art. I love it to be explored, and just the whole human condition, which again is what this game does explore. Yes, Tanker Fallout Boys, exactly. This is just a little annoying thing. He's actually not called Fallout Boy. He's called Nuka Kid, but then Fallout Boy made their band, and so yeah. Anyway. Nobody cares.
No, you've lost me here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll go to my Fallout Nerdville. And then it says, video games have for sure given us some of the best songs of all time and made legends in its own right. Also, an obscure game that people don't seem to have played, even though they made a TV show about it, is, dadgummit, I blinked out. The one with the black ice cream truck. Metal Gear. Not Metal Gear. That's what I mean. Twisted Metal. Twisted Metal Black, Twisted Metal 3, all that kind of stuff. They brought music to a lot of people who would not have heard a lot of those bands. Now, some of them were major bands, but a lot of them were indie bands. Also, Tony Hawk having, like indie and major bands.
Oh, yeah. It would, if it wasn't for Tony Hawk, I would never listen to CKY.
Yeah, well, exactly. And then, for me, Twisted Metal Black introduced me to so many things that I didn't know about. Hello, Pilot! Oh, I never got the notification. That's okay. We are talking today to Claire Morwood, who has not only solo developed a game all by herself, but also did the music for said game. Which is, to me, like, amazing. I'm sorry, but that's amazing. Pylord says, who ate all the pies? Well, I did, Pylord. I have the weigh-in tomorrow to count for it. Yes. But when will this game be available to the general public? And is there a demo available?
So yes, there is a demo available at the moment, which you can get on the Steam page for Asterism. I have not announced a release date yet, but I am hoping to very soon because it's basically just like tying up all the like the final end bits now. So I'm hoping like early. I'm going to say early next year without saying an actual date yet.
Well, considering that I played essentially called it the beta release, I think it's pretty much ready to release it as it stands at the moment. But obviously, you know more than I do about game development, so I didn't get anything that was majorly game-breaking bugs or anything like that. It ran smoothly and pretty consistently the whole time. So,
can Nana put a link to the Steam page in chat? Yeah, has the permission to do that.
I could do that.
Okay, or if you could do that. But yes, I do want to encourage our lovely listeners and viewers to go check this out because not only are you getting very cool music, like we said, it's indie music. You can hear, and this is a good thing. Like the Muse influence, that guitar riffs that are like, I don't know, they just speak to me. But you're also getting beautiful visuals. And you're going on a journey of self-discovery, which, again, I love that. I know a lot of you love that because we've gone on discoveries together. So you need to go check this out. I don't really understand how wish listing works. I've heard that that's a good thing to do on Steam. So
yeah, can we?
Yes, please wish list my game.
I was going to say maybe.
Okay.
Claire, would you be able to talk about the benefits of wish listing a game and how it affects the developers?
Yes. So a lot of the Steam algorithms of what you see are based on who has the most wish lists. So if you want to help me to reach more people, then please wish list my game, and then more people will see it.
Please go wish list this game.
Also, then you'll get notified when it's out, and you can check out too.
Yeah, had it not been for certain wish-listed games, I would never have known they had come out. Because that's the thing about indie games is obviously there's no platform really to go, oh look, there's the game is coming out in a few months, or unless of course you get a big deal from like Nintendo or Microsoft or Sony. You sort of have to do it off your own back. So wish listing is obviously a major component of being able to reach your audience. So,
yeah, definitely.
So yeah, please go and wishlist the game and go check the demo out. In terms of the demo, actually, that's available to the public at the moment, how much is available for them? Because obviously I got to play the full release technically. So
yeah, so the full game it's based on an album which has 12 songs. So there's like 12 kind of playable levels in the full game. The demo has 3 of those. So it's got this kind of intro level and then 2 more.
Cool. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that the demo is a very good launching pad, which is not a pun intended, but yes, for people to get in on this. And yes, please go wishlist it. Pilot says, is this a PC game? Apologies, Claire. I am not a gamer. I'm just here to provide sarcasm, innuendo, and bad dad jokes, which is what he does do. But yes, not consoles, that's not the right word.
Platforms.
What platforms? Thank you, Pete. What platforms is this available on?
Yes, it's a PC game.
Excellent.
I know obviously there is more work.
Maybe more in the future, but currently it's PC.
Yeah.
So at the moment there is no plans at present to port this over to an Xbox or Steam or Switch or anything.
Yeah, it's going to be a case of like do this initial release and like see how things go, because it's just like me on my own. It's like I've worked with other people to do porting on previous games.
Sure.
There's no way I could do that like by myself as well as like, making a release in the game. So yeah, we'll see how release goes. Maybe in the future then, because that'd be amazing if I could do that.
Of course.
One day.
Oh, yeah.
And have you had much dealings with the Steam Deck? And if you have, how is it that you would be able to optimize a game specifically for that machine?
Oof.
Yeah, so Asterism runs on the Steam Deck. I had a few issues with there's like some like, not in the demo actually, but in the full game there's some like video, like I guess like not FMV, but I don't know what you call it. There's some video content in the game, and apparently there's like a special tick box that you have to tick. Otherwise it just, like when on old TVs where it just like has all the coloured bars when it's like got no signal, it literally just like showed that when I first like tried to play that. So there's like just things like that like some UI issues that I had to fix. But yeah, like generally it was a fairly smooth process of getting on to like functioning on Steam Deck. Which was cool. Steam Deck's a nice console.
Okay. And did you have a lot of support from Valve or anyone within the community to help you optimize the game for the Steam Deck?
No, not directly with like getting it working. I'm trying to think if I had any like questions for them. I think with Valve it's mostly just been the actual like Steam store pagey backend, that kind of thing, rather than the Steam Deck stuff.
Well, that sort of leads me on to something, obviously, as someone who's not a developer of a game and having to manage everything sort of like that. How is the process of actually submitting a game for Valve to go and check before it's released?
Yeah, there's like I'd say like, so you have to like create your store page and like put in all the content and everything and like all the pictures and everything, and it does take a little while to set all that stuff up. The longer part is you have to also submit your build of the game for them to kind of review, which is mostly them just like checking what you said on your store page, like, if it's like controller support, language, or like all those sorts of things, to making sure that what you've said is accurate. And that can take some time because you have to like send them your build, and then they can, I think it's like 10 days or 2 weeks that they can take up to get back to you.
Sure.
And then they might have like things that you have to fix, and then you have to send them a new build. And so if you are making a game for Steam, I would leave like a month minimum, like hopefully longer, between like the point at which you think you've actually finished your game and the point at which you want to release it, just to make sure that you have enough time to do that whole process.
Sure.
That would be my, just leave as much time as you can and like get it set up as early as possible.
Yeah. And one of the things that obviously is quite notable on any Steam page is that mostly the first thing you'll see is a trailer. So did you cut together the trailer itself? And if you did, how long did that generally take to do? And how did you come about actually doing it?
I think it took like half a day to maybe a day of like putting that trailer together, like from kind of start to finish. So I just had like a long gameplay video that was just like the entire game, and then I tried to think about like, I guess, what I wanted to show in the trailer.
Sure.
It's interesting with this game because it's like a music album. I was like trying to figure out if I should go more down the like, I'm promoting a music album or I'm promoting a game, and like how I was even just like with how I'm gonna do like the audio for the trailer. Like, do I have like snippets of lots of different songs? Do I just have like one song? But yeah, I tend to use like Microsoft Clipchamp for all my video editing, which is a bit limited in some things, but actually I kind of like the limitations. Like, it's pretty good.
I use
like
it as well.
Yeah, it's cool, and I like all the like weird effects.
Yes. Yep.
It's like the glitch. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I have a question because, I'm coming at it from a streamer point of view. But how does, like, the whole, like, music rights and stuff like that, is that a completely separate thing? Or, how does that go? Like, because... The music
rights in terms...
Yeah. Like Twitch and YouTube, they just get after you. They're like, no, this belongs to somebody else. It's like, but it's in the game.
So like if someone was streaming it and then like I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know a whole lot about like streaming and like Twitch and things like that. So I'm not sure. I guess. So what have you had like problems before where you're like streaming something and then they're like, oh, you can't use that audio because it's someone else? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they'll mute that whole section in both YouTube and Twitch. They'll just mute it, and it's just like, well, but it's in the game.
there are certain games with licensed music now that will include streamer modes as well.
That's true.
Well, that is something I should look into because I didn't know about this. So I cannot answer your question. But
We're all learning together. And also, welcome back to Danker, who lurked and then unlurked.
Of course.
But yeah, so what do you see as the future for yourself? Like, is the whole next, because I'm always a future thinker. So is the whole next 12 months just I'm going to think of this game and this game only and type of thing, or do you have your next idea already evolving?
I guess it's going to be a combination, and it's realistically, it's also going to depend on how well it sells as well. Because if I probably am not going to be able to afford to just have a whole year of focusing on this game.
Makes sense.
That'd be lovely, but yeah. So it's probably going to be figuring out, I don't know, any post-release stuff that I need to do around maybe prototyping new stuff, and then getting back onto my freelance work as well. There's various sort of projects that I've kind of applied for funding for in a kind of small scale, which I'm waiting on. So everything's a bit up in the air at the moment in an exciting way.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, in a bit of an unknown way. But it's probably going to be a year of the kind of I guess fixing things, or doing things maybe looking into a tape release of the album. And then prototyping a bunch of new stuff, I think.
And how long would you say it took from concept to finalised version, or quote finalised version, of development time did it take?
I think about 2.5 years of not 100% full time, but mostly probably.
Yeah.
So maybe let's say 2 years full time work, I think.
Okay.
That's pretty good, actually. Because let's not forget, Claire is a sole developer.
Yeah.
Which is I just admire that so much. And I think that I think that the care and attention and everything, it really does come through in the game when you play it, and everything. And I just implore our beautiful, fabulous audience to please go wishlist this. Now that we know how important wishlisting is. Do it now. I just absolutely enjoyed my time with it. And I know that our wonderful audience will as well. And those sorts of things. But thank you so much, Danker wishlisted it.
Amazing.
Yay, thank you.
Danker does plays on the Steam Deck a lot, so he's all about that.
Cool.
If it's optimized for Steam Deck and all that kind of stuff. So, let's say you had all of the money in the world and all of the support in the world. What is your absolute dream game that you would create? Ooh, thanks so much, Lord. My Lord's wishlisted it too. Well, yeah, he has his child.
He specifically called eldest Piespawn.
Yes. But yes, if everything was at your fingertips, what is your dream game that you would create?
I would make some. I'm interested at the moment in trying to use more alternative controllers and kind of more immersive space stuff that brings.
Okay.
I don't know, you're not just playing a game on the screen, you're in the game in some way. So if I had all the money in the world and all the time and everything, then I think I'd try and make something where you're physically inside it. And I don't mean VR. I mean, I don't know, you're in it somehow, but I don't know what that is yet.
That'd be
so maybe I don't know. Yeah,
it'd be like an augmented reality game, wouldn't it?
So something. Yeah, it's hard to say. Something where I don't know. You're having to move around, and there's bits of screens here and bits of screens there, and you're
oh, it's good.
I don't know. I'm not sure what it is yet. Something more in your environment.
I went to Disney World one time, and they have what's called, they have 4D and immersive type things.
Yeah.
This one, they had the Star Wars ride, and I know people would laugh at this, but for real, not only does your seat move, obviously, because it's on like one of those gyroscope things, but like if water came out of the screen, it splashed on you. If or like the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience one, where mice were running around the theater, and they had a little feather thing that tickled the back of your legs, which scared the crap out of me.
That sounds horrible.
But I mean, there is something about that is like so immersive, and it is kind of a pity that it's only for big screens and for special trips like to Disney World or whatever theme park.
They actually have that technology now in cinemas with 4DX, don't they?
Oh, see, I haven't. We don't have that over here in Belfast yet. We have one little cinema that sometimes can do a little bit of 4D, but we're talking on such a minor scale. But yeah, I see those other films that are like 4DX, whatever. I'm like, it's not gonna happen over here in Northern Ireland. But
one day.
Yeah, one day. But to kind of bring it back to games, I mean, to be fair, now Pete and I've discussed this. I can't personally do VR. My eyes are wonky, so I can't really perceive VR as well. But if there was some kind of like immersive game like that, I mean, I guess you would have to be like a game pod. You'd have to like hop into a little pod and just be fully immersed.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is the thing. I don't know how you make that kind of thing that's like not just like an installation somewhere, but like maybe that's fine and maybe that's like what it would be. But yeah, because I'm not really a VR fan. But
I can't.
I think that there's some interesting things in that, like a crossover with even like theatre and stuff. Like there's like a lot of really cool like immersive theatre stuff going on these days, and which is like been super influential for a lot of the way I think about like games and interactive spaces as well. So yeah, I'd be interested in exploring these. Like I guess it's like I guess maybe that's what I'm interested in is like the intersections between like where games are with other art forms as well, like with music, with like theatre, with yeah.
Absolutely.
What they can be.
Yeah. I mean, I love as I said, the merging of different art forms. But then I get afraid that we start going down the line of NFTs, and then I'm like, wait, no, not that. There are games, as we know. Exactly. There's games that are Ubisoft being one. Yeah, I'm calling you out, Ubisoft, who have decided to put NFTs in their games, and I don't really understand that. To me, that kind of cheapens art, but that's me. That's an editorial from me, and type of things. But I do absolutely love the fusion. Fusion is the word I'm really looking for. I keep saying marriage, but it's probably not good. Fusion of different art forms, and I do absolutely believe that games are art. Because that is a discussion that is had in a lot of places, and yes, games are art. I mean, like, how can you not think that? Like, I look at people who are like, no, games are just entertainment. They're and I'm just like,
but yeah,
games are art.
But yeah, movies.
Why can't they be both?
Yeah, exactly. Movies are considered a form of art, so why can't video games be the same?
Well, there you go. Of course, movies, it took them a while to be seen as art as well. So, video games have struggled as well.
I think we're getting there, though. It's like finally being embraced, really, especially on a much wider scale and a more commercial scale as well. It's considered an art form.
I'm going to say probably nothing that's surprising, but I do think that Steam led a pretty big way of letting indies come to the forefront, and a lot of indie is also art based, type games, because you're not going to get God, that sounds so mean, but you're not going to get really heartfelt thinking, thought experiments from AAA developers. Not usually. I'm not going to say that that's totally not true, but it's not usually. It is usually the indie developers. And Steam's kind of given that kind of platform so that it's kind of available to, the everyman, the every person, out there. Which is good, because I like the encouragement of that. I'm a big believer in all forms of art, whether I agree with them or not. Especially the banana, if you've heard about that.
Oh my god.
I have.
I didn't want to hear about that, and
I know. I'm so angry, but yes, just a very, very quick. Then we'll get back to video games. Yes, so an artist, if you are probably familiar, a few years ago, he taped a banana to a wall, sold it as art. Fine, whatever. It was a great commentary. I tried to support his direction. And then that was not the true art. The art was when he got an artist friend to buy the banana for some millions of dollars, and then to eat the banana. Fine, okay, fine. It's a comment on art. And then he sold the idea of the banana taped to the wall, much in the way of NFTs, to another friend, and so now that friend can tape a banana to the wall anywhere in anywhere he wants in his whole world, and he is expressing art. There you go. That's it. Yeah. Once we reach that absurd level of absurdity, Mike says art is art until it's nart. I like that, Mike. That's very good.
That would be one Mike Tendo, by the way, who I believe you've already spoken to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That episode, please go check that out over on Mike Tendo's channel, best friend of the show. Yes, that's just my weird social commentary. Whereas Claire has developed I shouldn't say actual art, that's mean. Claire has developed what I would consider actual art.
Claire has let's just go with Claire has developed art.
There you go. But yes, I do believe all art is perception, and my perception is that what Claire has created is art. Go get it. Wishlist it now. Yes. And Mike Tindo says hi, Claire. So, are you going to do a launch party? I'm just curious.
I really want to. Yeah, I feel like I'm so focused on just like trying to figure out the launch stuff at the moment, but I really want to. Yeah, I've got like a costume of the main character that I probably will wear.
Yes! Oh, that's amazing. I love hearing that. That is great. Well, like, how does it work? Like, would you submit your own work to, let's say, like awards, indie awards type of thing? Is that something, or does someone else have to like nominate your work and stuff like that? Just so our audience.
Yeah, my main experience has been that I have to like submit my own stuff to awards. I think like I don't know how it works with I think like as far as I'm aware, like nominations like that are more like a personal thing. Like you're nominated for like this person of the year or whatever it is. Like
right.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a game thing, at least, yeah, in my experience, it's more being like, oh, there's this awards thing happening, so you can like submit. And most of them are free. Sometimes you have to pay, but yeah. So like the bigger ones, sometimes you have to pay to submit. But yeah, so I submitted to like a few awards and just like games exhibits and things like that as well.
Yes,
so
that's kind of where I was wondering. If you've not heard of Debug, you might look into Debug. They're associated with this show. Yes. Been on a few times. But yes, the Debug Awards, they're held in Nottingham, I believe.
Yeah, they had their first one last year, so it might be worth like getting in touch with them once the game's out.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, no, I have them in a list of things to look into.
Excellent. Yes, well, is there any kind of advice you would give fledgling solo developers as we round out the show?
Not even just fledgling developers, fledgling musicians as well.
Oh, yes, good point, Pete. Very good. Good point, well made.
Just do the things that you want to do. Like if you have an idea and you're like, what will people think? Just do it.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know. I guess that's my like arty advice. I guess, and I don't know. Like it's not very practical advice, but I think it's the advice that I would like to follow in life in general, and then like practical stuff comes later.
Yes, do the thing.
Yeah,
you heard it here.
Do the thing that you want to do.
Yes. We have all been crippled by that don't I question of shall I put it out or not, and I think the best way to do it is just to go for it.
Just do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any resources like places maybe people could go to learn a little bit about coding and type of thing, or anything that you just know off the top of your head? It's a good resource if you're just starting out.
For coding, yeah, I trying to think, because I learned to code like a while ago. I'm trying to think of there's some very good like YouTube tutorial series. If you're learning like Unity, then like Brackeys is quite a good channel that like has a lot of good explanations for things. I would also I found game jams in general like really, really helpful for like having just like a very short period of time where you're given like given a theme, and then you kind of just like have to make something, and it's quite useful for like learning to manage scope, which is really, really, really important when you're making games. And especially if you're able to do a game jam where you're working with someone else or like a group of people as well, that's like a really, really great learning experience. So I would advise like just finding game jams that you can do a mixture of stuff like by yourself, with other people, online or in person, or just whatever's available to you.
Cool.
Yeah. Nana seconds that, says YouTube is a big treasure trove if you want to learn game development. So
yes,
there you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I encourage anyone out there who is like curious and they're just like, I kind of want this, I kind of have this in my brain, I kind of think that, do exactly that. Just go look at tuts, as we used to call them. I don't think they're called that anymore because I'm old. But tutorials on YouTube.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is.
I know. You can tell I taught myself a lot of things. But yeah, and do that. And we, like, I'm speaking for Pete now, but we.
Nobody speaks for me, but go on ahead.
Yeah, I know that we here at Rep Reviews can't wait to see what you have in store, in the future. This as well, I think it's just gonna. I just think a lot of people are going to be moved by this. I do, guys. You gotta go wish list it. It's really, it's good. It's something good here. We got that magic. It's there. It's there.
Yeah. Please keep us informed of when the release date is out, because we will promote the living hell out of it.
Oh yeah, we will.
Yeah, we'll do.
Totally I'm gonna stream it.
We are here for the independent developers. We want to help build them up as best as we can, because the AAA development industry is just not doing it for some people, and the indie scene is where you're getting a lot of the creative ideas that are coming out.
I was gonna say we've talked about this a lot, but 2024 has been the year of the indie developer, and I think it's going to be that way for a while, which is fine with me, because that's what the majority of what I play is indie games.
Yep. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm getting some great experiences over the last few months from playing indie games. It's been brilliant.
Absolutely. And then especially here in the UK, to have that kind of network of other indie developers, and it's just, I just really, really, I just love it. I think the future, especially, I say UK for our listeners that maybe don't live in the UK, because I'm here and I'm centralized here, and that's the people I interact with the most. But I do believe that the UK indie scene is set to just explode. In the best way, not in a bad way. And I look forward to it. I know a lot of people are. AAA has failed us, which is something we frequently say over here on Rock Reviews. But we do love our AAA games. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the indie developers have really come to the forefront this year.
Absolutely.
And things. Yeah. Claire, do you want to? Oh gosh. Yes, we do, Pylor. Pylor says we need an on-screen wine counter for Kiley. Yeah, we do. That's coming in the new year. But Claire,
So what is the current count?
To be fair, look, I've still got, like, me? What? Yeah. I went slow. It's like 3 glasses. But
3 glasses in an hour and a bit. Yeah, that's slow.
Oh, for me.
Ooh, for you, yeah.
Yeah, for me. But Claire, what advice do you? One last piece of advice, and we'll close out the show. We'll have a lovely post show. But one last piece of advice would you like to give anyone out there about anything? It can be about
anything.
Yeah, how to cook an apple pie. I don't care.
I don't know. Go for a walk in nature. That's my advice.
That.
I don't do it enough. So I want to give my advice to myself as well.
Yeah.
I'm always like sitting here like, oh, I should go outside, and then I don't.
Know.
So yeah.
No, honestly, as someone who spent a lot of time indoors and then COVID happened, where I got forced to do exercise because I had to.
Yeah.
Going to experience the countryside and going to experience the outdoors is actually a great palate cleanser. I'd highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 3 hours playing Gas Station Simulator today, so I have to second that. Please go outdoors. Don't stay indoors.
Yeah, don't.
Oh yes, Tyler, go for a walk in nature as a naturist. Yes.
Oh, for God's sakes.
In the nude. I think that's gonna not quite wrap this episode up because Claire, out there in that wide expanse we call it the internet, where can they find you and connect with you? If it's possible.
Yeah, I'm on Blue Sky at Shimmerglitch. I'm on Instagram also, Shimmerglitch. And I have a website, shimmerwitch.space, which I changed it. Anyway, and then that's basically the main ways of getting in touch with me if you would like to chat about anything, say hello, whatever.
Yeah. For those who are watching live, I'll post those later, but for those listening, they will be in the description of the show notes for you.
Absolutely, which is good, because I've drank a lot of Prosecco and I won't remember until I read those show notes.
Wow, someone reads the show notes?
Yeah, well, I have to. It's my name there. Pete, what about you? Where can they find you outside of this lovely arrangement?
I mean, you can find me manning the Twitter.
Yeah, because I ain't going on Twitter ever. I'm done.
Yeah, I know. It's still there because we try to reach as many people as possible, but we also have a Blue Sky account, so at our radio pod or Rapid Reviews Radio. Other than this podcast, you can hear me talking movies and TV shows on the Never Watchers. Agatha All Along has come out today, so we're done with that and we've decided our next movie because it's December. We're doing a Christmas movie, but we're not going to tell anyone what we're doing yet.
Oh, goodness.
So, you can check that out on some good and some bad podcast players, but we won't talk about those ones. Kylie, what about you? Where can they find you?
Well, I'm definitely not on Twitter. No, I mean, technically I am, but, I don't do anything. I don't. It's a place of ill repute. But I am on Twitch. Again, technically I've reached 50 followers, but not officially. So if you would like to come follow me on Twitch, please do that at twitch.tv/KILE_WILDE. Join the Wilde Bunch. We are a wild bunch over there. On Mondays, we stream FPSs called Mayhem Mondays. On Wednesdays, we stream weird games, and there have been some really weird games.
Like
on Fridays, yeah, exactly. But again, if you like emotional roller coasters, there you go. And it's an indie game. But also on Fridays, we do Frightening Fridays, where we do horror games. And we are currently doing Resident Evil. I keep wanting to say Final Fantasy 7. It's not. It's Resident Evil 7. And then we're probably going to do Resident Evil 8 afterwards. It's a lovely jaunt because I grew up in East Texas. And Resident Evil 7 is set in West Louisiana, which is... They kiss like this. They do kisses. So it's very familiar to me. And my dadgum accent just... comes right out. Laurie says you can find me hiding in the bushes with the binoculars. Yes. Seems appropriate, Pylord. But that also, you can come and enjoy Pylord's humor. And Nana is our mod as well over on KILEY_WILDE. He keeps things running, and all of the lovely people that are in chat today, they come and visit me as well, and they keep me entertained, which is always wonderful. Saturdays we do an Off My Chest, which is it's a pun, but it allows chat to talk about anything and everything they want. You can ask me personal questions, and it is just not the only restriction we have is that you don't hurt anybody else. That's the only thing I care about on my channel. No hurting other people, but you can talk about anything. And there you go. Mike Tendo says plays horror games or plays games horribly. It's one of the two. Yes, and it's usually the second, the latter.
Yeah. Or it's I'm gonna do Frightening Friday, so a horror game, but goes and plays Hitman.
Yes, well, I will say, Pete's not wrong, because I am a Hitman channel, but I tend to kind of hang around and see if chat's gonna, show. Fridays are notoriously bad for streaming, because people have lives or something. I don't know, I don't have one, but apparently people do things on Friday night. I didn't know.
I know, it's a strange concept.
I know, right?
What's a Friday night and going out and doing things? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I play video games. I don't do anything. So if our audience isn't there, I like to save the good games for when they're there.
Yeah.
I'm also over on YouTube. Please come on YouTube. Because I'm almost at 100 followers. Which is, I know, people in our chat have, 4,000, 5,000 followers. But I'm like, oh, I have 100. I'm almost at 100 followers. I'm so cool.
Oh, God. Mike, that is the most British joke you can make. Jesus.
Pilot says no hurting unless you have a safe word, which is always pineapple. What does that mean? Lee Mack is a comedian, isn't?
Yeah, it says not everyone is Lee Mack. He was in a show called Not Going Out.
Oh, okay.
That's why I say that is the most British joke you can.
That was very good.
Jesus.
I like that a lot. Yes, but we have a lot of fun over there like this, because these people are over there. And Mike says, got it in one, Pete, and everything. But yes, if you don't like live content, that's fine. Follow me over on YouTube. If you don't like YouTube, that's fine. Follow me on TikTok. I don't ever go to TikTok, but my stuff is there because it automatically gets put there. Sometimes I go check it because sometimes people leave comments and they're very funny and I like them. And I think that wraps everything.
I think it is. No,
technically,
let's not talk about that thing. But again, for the third week in a row, carry on.
Which thing, Pete?
I'm not mentioning it. Move on.
Okay. I was just gonna say that. Mike says you must be a pro golfer, wink wink, because you got it in one. I do have to make a huge apology to everyone that I don't do a lot of social media.
Don't apologize. It's fine.
I don't answer a lot of stuff. I basically only talk on Discord on Sundays right now when I'm here. So, if you have messaged me on Discord and I have not replied, do not take it personally. It is me. I'm bad about messages because I'm bad. I'm bad.
Yes, just so you know.
I'm bad.
Just so you know, it makes organising a show for a Sunday quite difficult.
Yeah, so Pete messages me too, and I also don't answer him. So it's just me. It's not you, it's me. But I think that is going to do it for us.
Yes.
You guys have been amazing. Thank you so much to Claire for being here and giving us a little insight to the whole development thing. I forgot the word.
Oh my God.
Journey.
Development thing,
Yeah. Journey was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, the development and musical journey.
Yes, exactly.
Through the cosmos.
There you go.
Through the cosmos.
Which is
thanks very much for having me.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming on. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to talk to us.
And for our lovely, beautiful listeners on the podcast, if you join us over at twitch.tv/rapid reviews, after we say goodbye, we're going to actually still be streaming on Twitch where you get to talk personally to Claire or whoever a guest is, but today is Claire.
Yeah.
Mike says Kylie ignores everyone equally. It's true. Just ask Pete. It's not a personal thing. I don't like talking. Too many voices.
It's the most accurate comment I've seen today.
There you go. But I think that is going to do it for us on this part. Again, stick around, our lovely watchers, because we're going to do a little wrap-up on Twitch. But I think that does everything. Yeah, that's everything. So we will see you and talk to you next week. Bye!
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rapid Reviews Radio podcast. You can find the podcast on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and various other podcast platforms. You can also find the video version by searching Rapid Reviews on YouTube and watch the podcast recording live on Twitch at twitch.tv/rapidreviews at 7:30pm UK time every Sunday. Please make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter at RRRadiopod, and for all the latest reviews, visit www.rapidreviewsuk.com or on Twitter at RapidReviewsUK.